up and running for Facebook. And when you detect the person that speaks, is you wear multiple hats. So sometimes technology work with you, and sometimes it don't, and you got to have backup plans when it do or when it don't. So we're gonna get started today with what I have, and hopefully those that are watching now and those that are listening and those who might be watching later that can learn from this tutorial, this webinar. So I know we are in some unprecedented times, and we in times that we don't. Some of us might not know, or some of us are learning and trying to figure out how to do ministry online. And this is a topic that I've researched. This is a topic that I've been enjoying. This is a topic that I've been engaged in for a very long time. One of the things I did for my senior project was called digital theology. How does technology impact our relationship with God, with Christ? And how does technology impact the church and how we connect with the people? And so for me, the coronavirus is giving me plenty of material to start working on my PhD or further ministries that I am interested in doing. And so today we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of technology online. I'm going to give you three keys that I should give you three keys that you already use every day that will be able to help you with your digital community, as well as we're going to have people talk about their testimony. Like, man, I didn't sign up for this, but this is where I'm at, so I'm going to try. We're going to have people, hopefully we have a guest on telling us how important it is to have a website and how to keep the website up and running and it's been good for you and good for your church, because I believe individuals should have a website, and I believe churches should have a website, but it's a whole nother conversation. And we're here today to talk about how churches can connect to the keys to the kingdom, the digital kingdom. Let's get started. So I'm going to share with you my PowerPoint. And in this PowerPoint, it will give you an idea of what I believe is the digital kingdom. And when I say digital kingdom, I am referring to how to meet people where they are by using technology. And we are used to people coming to us, coming to our church, and we giving them the word, giving them the word. But now we have to come to the world and use the word and give it to them. But they are already used to a certain platform, a way to talk, the way to connect. And we, the church, have to be able to do the same thing. We shouldn't expect them to come to navigate to become who we are. We should almost navigate to become who they are, so that we can get them the way to get them to listen to our message. So one of the ways that I believe that each one of us could be using is our mobile phone. We pay lots and lots and lots of money for our mobile phone, and our mobile phones are capable of doing lots of things. But it's up to us to be able to access our mobile phone and use our mobile phone to be the best. To be honest, I'm using my cell phone, I'm using my tablet, I'm using my laptop to do everything that I'm doing right now. Our cell phones can live stream for us so that we can connect. And one of the things with your mobile phone, you can live stream with your mobile phone, and your friend can be um, writing comments so they can connect with people. And the beautiful thing about Facebook online is that's what it is. It's all about typing. It's all about talking back and forth. And that other person you have that is helping you, the other person that's there helping you, they can be putting your sermon in. They can be help you with just communicating back and forth with the people. But if you had Zoom, you can actually see the people, and seeing the people is sometimes help people to feel connected, Some people just don't want to sit on the phone, or some people just don't want to not see. So Zoom gives you that one more thing, that thing to see people. So your mobile phone has access to do all of that. You don't need to go out and buy anything. But if you have a laptop, if you have a tablet, you're able to use those things as well. And so that's the beautiful thing about having a cell phone. Websites. My friend hasn't logged in yet to talk about websites, but websites are very, very, very important. If you have a website, people that would never drive past your church will be able to see what your church is doing. Let me say that one more time. People that would never drive by your church will be able to access you and your church. Websites are very, very important. According to research, 60% of church goers 60% of church goers check websites before they even go to anybody's church. I know for me as a missionary, I was trying to figure out what the churches need. I would go to people's websites to see what they do, what they don't do, or how can I help. If you didn't have a website, in my mind, you didn't exist until I built relationships in the community. And so websites are very, very important to the success of you and your church and your ministry. And there's lots of ways to do websites. I build websites for people. I teach people how to build websites. I do a little of all of that, just because I believe that small churches can have a big impact, but it's up to us to be able to access that. And we can do that by connecting with people, by being in a relationship. Websites are very, very important. And the third thing, online giving. I laugh about this online giving piece because I'm from a rural area and my people are skeptical. So which means I'm skeptical. Like, is it safe? Can I really put my money in this? Is this the right thing to do? Which platform should I use? Man, I have three online givings that I use with other churches that I believe that are the most safe, that has reputable, really good backgrounds, and you're not paying them so much. You're not losing so much money. A lot of times when you go online giving places, somebody can give the church $100, but you only get $50 of that, and you want to be able to watch out for that. So like read the fine print. How much are they taking out? But the three platforms that I personally like is PayPal. PayPal is hard to set up, but easy to use once it's set up. Giveify. Giveify is really, really good for churches because they don't take out so much when people give into the church. Giveify is for nonprofits. It's for profits as well, but it benefits nonprofits. And I also like Cash App. And the reason why I like Cash App is there's zero cost to have it, and there's zero cost for people to bring in money. So Cash App is the most ideal, but you can't use Cash App on your website. So that was just my one thing I don't like about Cash App. You cannot use it online, but if you give people your Cash App handle, they can just send the money to your church. And I believe that at this point, all of us should just have a Cash App. People can send you money easier that way. And if the churches are like, they are afraid that it's not going to work out or it's going to be bad or somebody's going to take their money, if they have all these negative things about it, what they could do is open up a separate bank account. Open up a separate bank account just for your online giving for two reasons. This will help the church see that monies are coming. Monies are coming into people are using the online platform, and secondly, it will give them a peace of mind that nobody's stealing the church's money. So that's one way that you might can get the treasury to realize that the online platform is really good. So I'm going to pause for a moment, and I'm gonna ask Pastor Payne to share how has it been with this new idea of ministry. Uh, how's it been?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
All right. Wow. Well, I'm the nervous one because I am new at using technology myself. I was blown away the first Sunday I did Facebook Live. Over 90 people viewed my Facebook Live sermon. That just blew me out of water. I didn't know that many people would view that. Last week, this past Sunday, there was probably about half that many. But I do realize that at churches all over the country, they were Facebook Live-in and doing all kind of audio and videos to engage their churches in online Sunday service. I like it. I didn't think I would, but I actually like it. The most difficult thing for me is I'm a fast talker naturally. And I had to keep telling myself the second Sunday, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. And according to my critique from Miss Mashakadi, I did pretty good at that. I have a teenage daughter who is able to help me navigate and prepare things. So that makes it a little easier for me because I got a little assistant that's going to earn a little money by helping her mama get through this online ministry.
Right. Oh, I like how you pan her. That is unique too, because a lot of people think they can't use their kids. If you got a child, especially a teenager, they already know how to do all this. They already know how to do Facebook. They might not know how to do Zoom, but Zoom is so familiar. They can just hit 1, 2, 3 buttons and like, here you go. Just all you got to do is do your job and preach and teach the word. So that is really good.
Sayana just informed me that they are using Zoom as their part of their digital learning while they are out of school with this virus. So she's practicing using Zoom this week, so she'll be able to help me, which I didn't know that earlier.
Oh, that's awesome. See, ministry, church, we just got to be able to open our mouths and act and talk and just have these different things. The reason why now I'm pushing Zoom and Facebook is because Zoom does give that face-to-face where we've been apart for 3 weeks. I've been in my apartment. I've been lucky not to be exactly by myself, even though I got a newborn, but my niece and nephew is here with me. But I still need some adult conversation. And so Zoom gives me that I can just call a friend who might be in Tennessee and who might be somewhere else, and Zoom gives me that. And so that's the same thing. One of the things I'm also pushing with Zoom is Bible study. You can do your Bible study on Zoom so that you can see each other. With Zoom, you can put up questions that will pop up and people can answer. Zoom is amazing, and people can be able to see it on Facebook, and it's great. It is great. So what were you afraid of? Let's talk about fear. What was you afraid of when you first started 2 Sundays ago?
If anybody was going to listen, if I was going to be able to get people to understand my message, is there enough interest? I was particularly concerned about members of our church. As you know, our church is a rural church and it's very small. And I wondered if I got the word out, if enough of our membership would be able to watch the video. And it appears that quite a few of our members were able to log in and see the video and pass the message on to those who were not able to log in. So that was my greatest fear. The second fear was, it's like being on TV. I'm not certified to be a news anchor, and I'm not Oprah Winfrey or any of those people. Am I going to look the part? Am I doing the right thing? Is the background right? Am I talking too loud? Am I talking too soft? And I typically, and I am not comfortable yet without using my notes for my sermon.
Mm-hmm.
And I use my iPad, and I wondered if I would be criticized for using my notes and my iPad while giving my sermon. So that was a little fear for me. I watched other videos and I saw people just talking off their heads,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not there yet.
Right.
So I I have to have my iPad right now because I put my words down. So
Right.
those are my fears.
Those are legit fears because you're not the only one. But just like if you go to some churches, some pastors preach their sermons with notes and some preach without notes. I don't think you would be criticized by that at all. And I wouldn't feel pressure to try to memorize your notes either if that's not your ministry. Like for me, because I'm a poet and that's just for me. I can't just sit there and read for me, so I can't do that. But my best friend, he has to read his notes. If he don't read his notes, he's going to go off on a tangent. So his notes also keep his notes also keep him on track. And thinking about on track, how long have your ministry, not ministry, comparing to you preaching in the pulpit on Sunday versus you preaching online and on a video, are your sermon times, are they the same, less, or more?
I try to keep my sermons within about 15 to 20 minutes. The first sermon was a little bit short, but this past Sunday, I had it about 20 minutes, and that include my daughter reading the scripture.
All right.
So I was right about normal.
All right.
With that.
All right. Even if you didn't use Zoom, you can use there's a way on Facebook Live that you can add somebody into the conversation. So if you want to get a church member, like if you want to get a church member to read the scripture who's not your daughter because she's in your house, she might get tired of you. Another way to get the church members in, you will add them in and let them read the scripture, sing a song, tell a testimony, or whatever, to get more people involved and get the community connected. So you can do it that way as well.
Right.
Yeah, so looking at different ways, but your fears are you're not the only one. You're not the only one, and I know that might not always feel good that you're not the only one. But for me, knowing that there's somebody else going through the same thing helps me know that I can always become better in what I'm doing, and I have a long way to grow.
That's correct.
Right. So actually, when I looked at your video today, when I saw it on Sunday, I think you had 25 views. When I looked at it today, you had, I think it's 25. So I think right now you're sitting at 50, going on 70. I believe, if I looked at it right, because we had we did a little bit different. You did it a little bit different this Sunday, so we had to look at the numbers a little differently. So I think you're doing good.
Thank you.
I think you're doing good. One of the things that a lot of my church people were saying that they just want the connection. You can't hug. You can't do the things that you typically do right now because of what's happening. But you still can connect in this. You still can connect to your people, and you just got to be really creative in this time.
One of my another one of my fears were, many members of our rural church, our members are senior citizens, and we have quite a few who are over the age of 70. And I wondered about how they would connect. Would they be able to ask their grandchildren to show them how to use it? Would there be anybody in the home to help them Facebook? Did they Facebook? And so this past Sunday, I tried conference call after the Facebook Live video. I had about 5 people on the conference call. So that was okay, but I've got to work out a way to get more involvement from those senior citizens.
So that's good. So if you had 5 of the older congregation a part of the phone conference, I want to make this easier for you, right? So that's two sermons. To me that's just a lot. I've done that before where I had to preach multiple sermons. That 10 o'clock sermon, that 10 and that 11 hour that's a lot. That's a lot for me. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but for me, it was a lot. And so with your older people, if you decide to use Zoom, they can hear you and the other people can see you. And so you don't have to do 2. You can knock it all off at 1 if you use Zoom.
And that's what I desire to do, because this past Sunday, I went right in at 11:25, 11:30. I went right into the conference call. And I was exhausted when I finished.
Yes, ma'am. 2 summons will do that every time. And you don't want to do that for the next 8 weeks at all.
No.
At all. But you saw how I copied and pasted the information to you for Zoom?
Yes.
And you saw all those different numbers?
Yes.
That's what you were seeing, or that's what your person was seeing, your older members, so they can have that number and they will call in to hear. And there are people who wants to see, they still can see you if that's what they desire. And then whomever, if it's myself or your designated social media person, if they decide to do that, they can then share it on Facebook.
Oh, great. Okay. That's great.
We're trying to think smarter, not harder.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so you use your cell phone or you use your tablet?
I used my cell phone.
Okay.
For the last two Sundays. And actually I just got a new phone, so it's time to update. So this Sunday I will probably be using the new phone.
Okay. Well, just curious, what phone is it?
It's the iPhone 11. 11. Okay. I don't know what the digits are after 11, but my daughter does.
I understand. But that is going to give you a really good, clear picture. A really good, clear picture. And I heard you say earlier that one of your other fears was that you wasn't Oprah, and you was worried about your background and stuff like that. As long as your background not dirty, and as long as it's not got a lot of 100 things going on, you're good to go. so you good. So also one of the things about marketing is if you had a church banner, you can put that back out there behind you, so it can have the church address, it can have the church email address and stuff like that. So that's how people sometimes they need something else to look at other than you. And so if you are on camera, that would be good to have a church banner or just a whiteboard and have the scripture on it. So it just gives them something else to look at other than you. And yeah, yeah. Having you to look at is not bad, but people get distracted. 15 minutes is about how much time. It's probably less now. It's probably less now. But yeah. So don't worry about you not being Oprah. I'm not Oprah. And a lot of us on YouTube, we're not Oprah, but we on YouTube telling our message. and then if you know that your message is of God, it's time to spread it. And using technology is the best way to do it. Is the best way to do it. So, and I know personally that you guys are working on your church's website. We worked on it when I was, I guess, right out of college. The first time, right out of undergrad, we was working on Jerusalem's website, but so much has changed since then. We need to do some upgrades.
Updates, yes.
Updates, upgrade, changes, all the above.
Yes.
What about online giving? How do your little rural church feel about online giving?
Well, is it safe? I had that question from a finance board member just last night. Small towns, sometimes small minds. I would like to be able to do some online giving, and I hope that we can push toward that. Because if you believe it or not, I just had to snail mail letters with stamped envelopes inside, asking church members to put their tithes and offering in that envelope, mail it to the church P.O. box so that the finance team could get those offerings, because we still need our money. We still need to keep our building going, even though the church is not in the building right now.
Wow. Ooh, that's tough. I writing that. Oh, that was a lot. Even with your small church, there still was a lot of letters. That was a lot of envelopes. That was That was
A
a
lot of
lot.
stamps.
That
2
was,
sets of stamps on each letter that was mailed. That's a lot.
yes, ma'am. That was a
Yes.
lot.
Yes.
And then if it was online, it would have been a little bit easier.
It would be a little bit easier. However, I have not been at our church very long. And one thing that I have learned, that if I push them too fast, it makes certain people get upset.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to weasel this online giving in. I just have to figure out how to get it in.
Right.
I think that as we continue to do the Facebook Live or just posting my sermons on a regular basis, that we may have requests for online giving.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend that lives in another state that asked how could she give to my church.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, right now you have to mail it. She asked if I had Cash App. I said, I do have a personal Cash App, but I don't want to receive the church money in Cash App.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
So my Cash App. So I did ask her if she could send us a check or a money order while we work on that. And if I get, 1 or 2 members who watch us on live to request ways to send funds, I think it might be easier to convince members of the church and the finance team that we need to look at online giving.
Right. I was thinking, it's like, what if the typical members or the regular members continue to give the way they are used to, the way they're comfortable, but we also looking at ways to how to get other people to come to us, or how do we get more people to invest in us, or how can we get our message to them so they'll be willing to, right? Just like your friend. And so if we had a platform for those people, I'm not gonna even lie to you, I don't write checks. I have to go to the bank and actually ask for those particular things, because I don't write checks. And so right then I can no longer give to my church, or I can no longer give to you guys, because you don't have a platform for me. And so what you're telling me is you don't want my money. and I know that's not true.
You're a millennial, and most of people your age and younger, they don't even know how to write checks, some of them. And online giving and PayPal, that's the way to go.
I had to Google it. I had to Google how to write a check.
Yeah, I think it will help me if I get enough people who ask, Pastor, how can we give to your church?
Mm-hmm.
And I am keeping documentation of the number of people that are watching online.
Good.
And so that when we do get back and I can meet with the administrative board, I'll be able to share that with them. I'm also going to share that I've had so far one person to ask me about online giving. Okay, so now you are 2 people that have asked me about online giving.
Right. And I could have been, if the church had online giving, I still need to pay my 10%. Instead of finding a new church every time I go to a new city, at least I know my 10% is going to the church I was born and raised in.
Right.
But we don't have that, and I'm not going to write a check. I'm just not.
And so I will keep documentation, so I'll be able to say, hey, we had 5 people to ask about online giving. If those 5 people give $50, that's $250.
Right.
For our ministry.
Actually, I believe that y'all missing $2,000 every month. If you think about all the young adults who don't come to church, but who is still connected to the church, $5 or $6 each of us, you missing a nice little penny of
I agree.
So online giving is really important. It is safe for whomever asks that question. It is safe. If they need to go research, if they need to go talk to other churches, and that might be some of the problem with the rural church, that we are so distant from everybody else, and we don't really we don't always connect with other churches or to see what other churches are doing and how they are doing it, that we just believe that when something new come in, we just making it up out of the air. And online giving is not new.
And I don't think in our case it's distant. I think it is the age and the ownership in the church. There are members like you, but that you're no longer there, but like you and members of your family that have been in our church since the day they were born, and some families since that church was founded, and they don't feel like they should change things. But if we don't change things, the church will be stagnant. And in order for us to continue to be a strong, viable member of that community, we have got to change some things.
Even as as a United Methodist Church, and we are in a present time, even within the church is about to split. The church is splitting over homosexuality or sexuality in general. If the church don't change or make some changes or do something different, it's going to die. And
the doors are going to close.
The denomination is going to shut us down if we do not decide to do something different. And if the older members, even people in my family, if do not want to change, the church is going to die. And then my question is, then what?
Exactly.
And then what? And so if you want the church to be there for my child to grow up and see where I grew up at, or the next generation, this generation right now, today, we have to say that we want this. If it's just small, nobody at that church or rural churches or urban churches, nobody's in a horse and buggy anymore. Everybody got air conditioners in their cars. They got bathrooms in their houses. I don't know why they want the church to stay in the past, but they don't live like they in the past. I don't get that. And I say that in my sermons. Right. I say that in my tech talks. I do that all the time because why we don't want change in the church? The message never changed. Just the way we give the message change.
Yes, that's true. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So I believe that we can do better. And I believe this is a time for the rural churches, small churches to see that. If you're not connected online, your ministry just died.
That's correct.
Yeah, with a virus, with health. If you was not connected online, you just died unless you had somebody to come in and help you. And a lot of them is still bucking.
Oh yeah, because I still have been cautioned that I need to telephone call everybody on the roster to say, hey, how you doing? Do you know how many hours that's going to take me to do that?
Yes. and I know that is a issue because of the age gap. But God, there has to be another way. But you don't want to miss people either, because we're in a new time. You want to be loving to those that has been faithful to that ministry, but my golly, there has to be a better way.
I wanted to mail thinking of you cards.
Okay.
And because I called 2 people to say, hey, how you doing? Do you guys need anything? Is there special prayer requests? How's everybody, family? Those 2 phone calls took me 42 minutes.
Yes. And I think the phone call is ideal for certain ethnicities groups, but we as Black folk, we like to talk.
Yeah.
Each phone call, it would take you all week just to get through the roster, and you got 10 other things to do.
Right.
And you're a small church. Just imagine you trying to do that if you're a big church.
That's correct.
So, unless you had a team,
I will have called everybody this week.
But if you had a team,
I promise you're going to get that every week from now until this is over. As
a missionary now, I've worked in churches where the pastors did call, but it was not every week. It might have been once a month that they got a physical phone call just to see how is it with your soul, how are you doing, but not every week. Even though we are in a weird time, and you want to make sure, especially the older members with the virus and stuff, because they said this will hurt more of the older people. Oh man, I would have to come up with a team. Like, okay, so today you got A, B, and C, and tomorrow you got F through Z or something. There's no way
No,
we as
they
a
want to hear the pastor's voice on the phone.
really.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to. I'm talking to the audience right now. Is there other churches that deal with that as well? Is that they only want to hear from the pastor? Is that a small church thing? Is that just share with me, audience? Do you believe that that all that heavy lifting should be for the pastor, or do you believe that the community of the church should step up and help the pastor? That's another digital community or another way to be connected with your people in this unprecedented time. Wow, there got to be. I still believe that there should be multiple ways of reaching people. But thinking about you, we are dealing with older people, and I still ask that question with digital theology, or would digital theology miss our older generation? I'm just curious. I think it probably would. I think it probably would because even the way we do church now, their moms and dads and grandmoms and all that didn't like how they did church. If you think about gospel music was hated, but now it's praised. So the church has always been a generation or two behind. So I can see this as what it is, um, as growing pains, as a time of transitioning. But I caution our small rural churches and in the United Methodist Church because the church is in a time where they are closing churches.
Yes.
They are closing churches if you can't bring in the money, and this is a time where you're not able to bring in your money because you don't have these platforms. They are closing churches because you're not doing anything new. They closing churches because they just don't believe that you have life. They believe that you are on a ventilation system that
Right.
that somebody else is breathing life into you, and God ain't got nothing to do with it.
That's
So the church will close you. So thank you, Pastor Payne, for coming and talking and listening and engaging with me. I pray that there's other people that will be engaged later on in other webinars and e-courses that are offered to help and bless them in their ministries. And I look forward to see what Jerusalem do moving forward because I believe that the church has a lot to offer. They birthed me. I believe the church have a lot to give only if we're willing to give.
I thank you so much for the invitation today. Please invite me again. I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you. Audience, thank y'all. If you have any questions, any comments, all my information will be below, and we'll see you on the next go.